What's up, squad? Back with another video. As y'all can see, I had to react to this video, seeing that, it's Larry Elder, and, Benny. Two of, some really nice people, definitely. And Larry Elder is somebody that I've, got to know a little bit. Seen a lot of videos, seen a little movie and stuff like that, like clips from that. Definitely pretty lit with Larry Elder. Other videos y'all want to check out, make sure y'all comment down below. DM me on Instagram, LifeWithRecklezz, or email me, LifeWithRecklezz@yahoo.com. Let's get in the video.
This type of violent crime that you're discussing that is on the rise across America disproportionately hurts black people. You're saying that that's not going to matter and that black people are still going to show up and vote for Kamala and Joe?
Unfortunately, yes. I mean, look at the schools. Schools are near the bottom. 13 public high schools in Baltimore, 0% of the kids can do math at grade level. They're all located in the inner city. There are 53 government schools in Chicago, all located in the inner city. 0% of the kids can do math at grade level. Yet Democrats, like Leming, go in there and pull that lever for the Democratic black voters, rather, like Lemmings, go in there and pull that lever for the Democratic Party. You tell me what that is. Look at the crime. The crime is hurting black people and brown people more than anybody else. Accusing the police of engaging in systemic racism is causing them to pull back. It's called the Ferguson effect or the George Floyd effect. And as a result, all they're doing is answering radio calls, not being proactive. So there are bad guys in the streets who are preying against other innocent, law-abiding black people, and still black people pull that lever for the Democratic Party. I don't know what it's going to take. Although Trump did do better, he got, I think it was 8% in 2016, he got 12% in 2020. That's a 50% increase. He got 20% of the black male voters. So it's trending in our direction, but what's taking so long? My goodness, crime, the schools are awful, the economy, people are leaving California for the first time in 170 years, Benny. 500,000 people left California in the last 2.5 years because primarily they cannot afford the price of a home. And the reason the price of a home is so high is that the Democrats are in bed with the environmentalists. The environmentalists don't want any kind of construction. There's probably 2 or 3 million units that should be built in California and would have been built had it not been for the extreme laws that we have that allow basically anybody to stop any construction for any reason.
You just mentioned that black men are trending towards supporting Donald Trump, and we're seeing that in the polling. Now, you just bowed out and supported Donald Trump. Can you talk me through, obviously, that nexus? What's been your communication with Donald Trump? I know you've been a big supporter of his for quite a while.
Right. I just met with him 3 or 4 days ago, right before he had a really big fundraiser, and we talked about my dropping out, and I said I was going to endorse him. He said, "You know how Trump is." He said, "Why don't we do it now? Let's go do it now." So we go down there at this big fundraiser, and I announced it before that these are the wealthiest people in America who are conservatives. I think he raised $9 million that one night. I think it's the biggest fundraising night maybe ever. And I made the announcement there. And the reason, of course, is because I like what he did on crime. I like what he did on borders. The reason borders are important is because the people most threatened by illegal aliens economically are black and brown people living in the inner city with high school or less education, because almost all the illegal aliens have very little education. There was a report done by the Civil Rights Commission, Benny, that found 1 million fewer blacks are working because of the presence of illegal alien labor, and illegal alien labor puts downward pressure to the tune of almost $2,000 per year on the salaries of black people living in the inner city. And Donald Trump
Wow. I didn't know that.
He's the best economy ever for black people. He pardoned Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight.
And the crazy thing is, like, understand, like you're saying, black people and stuff like that. And y'all know I don't really go right into a race, but even though he's obviously, not about that either. And Sam more so of just, speaking on the topic of black communities, but y'all know that, Trump is, for the American people, regardless. Like, he's for the American people, and that's somebody that you need. You don't need somebody that, we for this country and we for that country, and we about to send money to this country to do this and do that and not care nothing about the United States. Know what I mean?
He's the best economy ever for black people. He pardoned Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight champion. And by the way, even Obama didn't do that. He commuted a sentence to a woman named Alice Johnson, who got a very long, nonviolent criminal sentence. If this is racism, he needs to go back to racism school.
Well, we have a very interesting clip here from the weekend, big time college football weekend. There were a lot of parties. One of them had Waka Flocka, who is a pretty popular rapper, and he led a Trump 2024 chant at his concert. We have a clip of it here. I'd love to get you to react.
When I yell something, I want y'all to say 20.
And before we even start this video, like I'm gonna be real with y'all. For Benny and Larry get to say something after this. This is something that we need. You have somebody. You have regardless of how everybody look at it, how anybody look at it. Oh, he's a rapper and okay, that's fine. The thing is that a lot of these are these are. I'm gonna say a lot of these young adults, teenagers. These are the future. So for him to sit there and chant that, to get that in their minds, you're like, why would Waka say that? Why would Waka Flocka say Trump 2024? Why would you, and that'll have them thinking, that'll have them researching, that'll have them looking like, what is, and that's the most important thing. It's not necessarily telling y'all, oh yeah, go do this and go do that. It's just a simple fact of that's getting in their head, like, oh, okay. And I feel like that's wonderful to do.
24. When I say the word, say 2024. You ready? Y'all ready? Yeah. Trump! I fuck with y'all, man. Waka Flocka, man.
Is this like a tide shift? Is this just a one-off? Is this a movement that's happening with black men? Tell me about it.
I think something's happening. Look, the Democrat Party is a party of slavery, the party of the Confederacy, the party of KKK. Democrats founded the KKK. The party of the Dred Scott decision. Democrats appointed the Chief Justice Roger Taney, presided over that. They're the party that broke down the family with the welfare state. We've incentivized women to marry the government and incentivized men to abandon the financial and moral responsibility. They're the party of crime, as I mentioned earlier, and they're the party that will not allow school choice. And so you add all these things up, and finally, black people are getting to wake up and realize they're being used.
I just said that last video. Check the last video out.
Joe Biden, Benny, goes to Howard University, a historically black college, and what does he say? The number one threat to the homeland is, wait for it, white supremacy. The Anti-Defamation League keeps track of how many people are killed every year by political extremists. Last year, there were 25 out of the over 20,000 homicide victims. You want to play that game? Most homicide is same-race homicide. Most whites who are killed by other whites. Most blacks who are killed by other blacks. However, every year, there are about 750 interracial black-white homicides. 500 white people are killed by blacks, even though blacks are just 13% of the population. 250 blacks are killed by whites, even though whites are 60% of the population. Now, if you wanted to play that game, if Donald Trump went to a university and pointed this out and said the number one threat to the homeland is black supremacy, you and I would denounce him as a race-hustling demagogue. But Biden does it, it's not a problem. And I just talked about homicide, non-homicide violent crime between blacks and whites. Roughly every year, 600,000 such instances. 85 to 90% of the time, it's the black per white victim, only 10 to 15% the other way around. Now, if I cited those stats and I said the number one threat to the homeland was black supremacy, I would be denounced and should be denounced as a race-hustling incendiary. But Democrats like Joe Biden do this all the time, and they get away with it, and our side does not fight back hard enough.
So it is absolutely astonishing, the numbers that you just brought up there, and the homicide rates, of course, are skyrocketing. They've skyrocketed, shockingly, after the BLM riots, after the BLM fraud that was perpetrated on the American people. Where did the $90 million go? Nobody knows. Mansions in Canada, I hear. But nonetheless, you've seen actually the rise in black homicides skyrocket after the BLM riots and after the the entire George Floyd narrative was spun, and it was a narrative because the autopsy revealed that George Floyd died of fentanyl. The official autopsy was released and ping-pong balled around quite a bit. This happened last week. I was hoping to ask you about it. I know we only have a minute left, but your thoughts on the last 3 years, has that been good or bad for black Americans?
They've been bad. And regarding George Floyd, remember the lead prosecutor was a black man. And he took pains to argue in his opening statement that the police in general were not on trial. In fact, he said flattering things about cops. He said the Minneapolis PD in general is not on trial. He mentioned some of the people he knew in the department, and he admired them. He said this individual is on trial for what this individual did or didn't do. He never even implied that what Derek Chauvin did had anything to do with George Floyd's race, and Chauvin was never charged with a hate crime. Yet you have all these protests in America for 4 months, 25 people killed, 2,000 officers injured, $2 billion in insured property damage, all because of a false narration that what happened to George Floyd had to do with his race when there was zero.
One person and all of the stuff is right here. One person and they did all of that. They said it was what? 20-some people killed. What do you say? 2,000-some officers injured. $2 billion in property damages. Stuff like this. And y'all not even knowing what's going on. I feel like that's a lot that had to do with it. You hear the cops just killed somebody black, so we about to go tear the city up. Not even knowing what happened. And I feel like that right there, that just goes to show you that a lot of people don't pay attention. We have somebody that literally is destroying the mess, allegedly, about the United States, And everybody still, okay, yeah, love him. Love the VP is just all giddy about it. Then you got followers. Just like in this instance, you got followers. You got people that just, it's sad, man.
Evidence.
It's a sad
whatever
world.
You feel about what the officer did. There's zero evidence that what the officer did or didn't do had anything to do with George Floyd's race. This is what Democrats do, and it got people killed. And property values go down. Businesses don't want to start there. And then they want to whine about the wealth gap. Who created the wealth gap? You did, by the welfare state. The fact is that, according to the CDC, a young black man aged 10 to 43 is 13 times more likely to be murdered than a white male, same demo. Why?
Wow.
Lack of fathers in the home, and nobody's talking about it. They don't talk about it
That's
because they
definitely
caused
important.
it. We don't talk about it for fear that if we do, it will be called systemically racist. Or if you're black, as I am, you'll be called the blackface of white supremacy, which is what the LA Times called.
Remember that? The Los Angeles Times, the blackface of white
Blackface
supremacy.
of white supremacy. You've been warned was the subheadline.
You've been warned. Meanwhile, a white leftist in a gorilla mask throws an egg at you. I'll never get over it.
That's right, and they laughed about it. Can you imagine if somebody in a gorilla mask had thrown an egg at Kamala Harris or Barack Obama? They would have done a manhunt, but they just made a big joke about it. And they said, a white woman wearing
That's
a gorilla
messed up.
mask. And I said, how do you know it was a mask? Maybe she was having a bad hair day. Or y'all to make sexist comment about, you can't win.
Larry has a brand new book out. You gotta go get it. As California
What
goes,
is
my
it
mission
called?
to rescue the Golden State and save the nation. It's available now on Amazon.
Definitely grab
Larry,
that.
you are just an absolute national treasure. Please come back.
I
soon.
think he had another book that I want to check out. If it's other books, I'm definitely gonna check them out. I actually got to build a bookcase and stuff tomorrow, so definitely appreciate y'all. It is important to have fathers in the home. I know a lot of people are, there's people that can be divorced, there's people that can be split up and stuff like that, but that does not take away the fact that you can still be there for your kids regardless. I've been that way. We got 2 baby girls, and one thing about it is I love to see them grow. I love to see them try new things and do new things and stuff like that. It's just a beautiful thing. I was scared, to have a kid a couple years back. I definitely was. I was definitely scared. I didn't even want to have a kid. Then I thought about it, you pray about it, and you get something beautiful. You get something beautiful, definitely, and then got a plus, got a newborn. So it's definitely a beautiful thing. I know a lot of people, it's people that can't even, get their kid, do anything, to have kids in your life because it's a beautiful thing. You already know, hit that like button, subscribe, but definitely appreciate y'all. Catch you on the next one.